1. Introduction. My name is Lisa. My life had become very difficult. I was only 24 years old when everything changed. My husband left me. This happened when my son, Adam, was very small, only 1 year old. After my husband left, I had no money at all. I had no family nearby who could help me. I felt completely alone, and it seemed like I had no future ahead. Every night was cold and long. Every morning was full of fear and worry. My baby, Adam, needed food to grow strong. He needed milk every day, but I did not even have enough money to buy simple bread for us. I was truly desperate. I knew I had to do everything possible, anything at all, to keep him alive and safe. I searched for jobs every single day. I walked many, many miles, sometimes with Adam in my arms. I went to many different shops and many offices. I asked many people if they had any work for me, even for a short time. But always the answer was no. People closed their doors quickly in my face. They looked at my baby, Adam, and then they shook their heads sadly. It was very clear that nobody wanted to hire a poor woman who also had a small child to care for. Finding work was an incredibly difficult task. I felt sad and tired from walking and asking, but I could not stop searching. I had to keep going for Adam. He was my only reason to be strong and to fight. One day, as I walked, I saw a paper on a wall. It had an advertisement. It immediately caught my eye. It said, "Maid needed." The advertisement also promised hard work, and it specifically mentioned high pay. Importantly, it clearly stated it was for a rich house. My hands began to shake very much when I read these words. This advertisement felt like a very big chance for us. Perhaps it was my only chance to change our difficult life. A small spark of hope lit up inside me. This job, I thought, could help me and Adam. It could give us a safe place to live, a real home. It could give us enough food to eat every day so Adam would not be hungry. It truly felt like my last hope for survival. I knew then that I had to go to that rich house. I had to try my absolute best. My son, Adam, depended on me completely. I would do this for him no matter how hard the work was. 2. The new house. The large house stood before me. It was enormous, like a grand castle from a story. Its walls were made of white stone, reaching high into the sky. Tall, black iron gates stood closed, guarding the entrance. The house looked very strong and a little scary. I felt small as I walked towards the big front door. My heart beat fast. This was a new place, and I felt nervous. I took a deep breath, then knocked on the heavy wooden door. A man opened the door. He was very tall. His eyes were dark like ice, and they looked at me without warmth. His face was serious, with no smile. This was Dan, the owner of the house. His voice was deep and cold when he spoke. "Work here is not easy," he said. "You must clean every room, you must cook all the meals, and you must always keep quiet." He showed no emotion. His words were strict commands. I listened carefully. The rules were very strict. I understood I could not make mistakes. I had to work extremely hard from early morning until late at night. There would be no time for rest. I nodded, showing him I understood. I did not care how difficult the job was. I needed this job more than anything. It was my only chance to make a safe life for my son. I had to be strong. Later, I met other maids in the house. They spoke to me in low whispers when Dan was not near. They warned me about him. "He is very rich," one maid said quietly, "but he is also very sad inside." Another maid added, "He lost his trust in love. He does not like to be close to anyone." They told me it was best not to try to be friends with him. They said he had a very unhappy past. The other staff's words made me think about Dan. He seemed like a very cold and lonely man. His big house felt quiet and empty, but I was not afraid. My son, Adam, was the only reason I was here. I had to work hard for him. I would clean, cook, and follow all the strict rules. I would do everything perfectly. My determination was strong. This job was for my son, and I would not fail. I would work harder than anyone else in this big house. 3. My secret son. Every day I woke up very early. The sun was still sleeping. My work in the big house was hard. I cleaned every room. I polished the floors until they shone. I washed many curtains. I cooked food in silence. My hands often hurt from the strong soap. My back ached at the end of each day, but I did not stop. I did not complain. I remembered why I was there. I needed this job for Adam. Normally, a kind old neighbor helped me. She watched Adam while I worked. But one day, she became sick. She could not help me anymore. I had a big problem. I had no other person to care for my baby. I thought about what to do. I had no choice. I decided to bring Adam with me to the big house. It was a big risk. I knew Dan had strict rules. I prayed he would not find out about my secret son. I kept Adam hidden. I tried to be very careful. Adam was a quiet baby, but babies can make noise. I kept him in a small, safe place when I worked. I fed him quickly. I played with him softly when no one was near. Every sound made me nervous. Every step I heard made my heart beat fast. I worried all the time. What if Dan walked into the wrong room? What if Adam cried loudly? My biggest fear was being found out. If Dan knew, I would lose my job. Then Adam and I would have nothing again. One afternoon, I was in the big kitchen. I was preparing dinner. Adam was near me, quiet for a long time. Suddenly, he started to cry. It was a loud cry. My heart jumped. I tried to calm him quickly, but it was too late. The kitchen door opened. Dan walked in. His dark eyes looked at Adam. My body froze. I thought, this is the end. I closed my eyes for a moment. I imagined Dan shouting at me. I imagined him telling me to leave the house immediately. All my hopes for a better life were gone. But Dan did not shout. He did not look angry. His face, which was usually cold, changed. A small softness came into his eyes. He walked slowly to Adam. He bent down low. He gently touched Adam's small hand. Adam stopped crying for a moment. Dan looked at me. His voice was not cold at all. It was quiet. He said, "You should have told me." His words surprised me very much. There was no anger. There was only a quiet concern. It was a new feeling from him. I did not know what to say. My secret was out, but the world did not end. For a kind man, the house felt different from that day. It was not as cold. Dan, the serious owner, changed. He let my son, Adam, stay in the house with me. This was a big surprise. I thought he would be angry, but he was not. He just accepted Adam. Sometimes Dan brought small things for Adam. He bought a soft teddy bear and a colorful ball. He tried to hide them, putting them quietly where Adam played. He acted like it was nothing. He would leave them and walk away quickly. I knew these gifts were for Adam. My heart felt warm. It showed a new part of Dan to me. I often saw Dan watching Adam. He did not always look directly. Sometimes he stood far away, just looking. His dark eyes, once like ice, seemed softer. They held a quiet, gentle feeling. I could not name this feeling. He watched Adam play and laugh. It was a hidden kindness behind his quiet face. One afternoon, Adam was playing. Dan walked in. Adam, a small boy, suddenly ran to Dan. He hugged Dan's leg and said, "Papa." My face became very hot. I felt shame. Adam made a mistake. Dan was not his father. I quickly tried to take Adam away. But Dan did not move. He froze. Then, slowly, he bent down. He gently lifted Adam into his arms. Adam smiled at him. Dan looked at me. His eyes were hard to understand. They were not angry, but full of a question. It was a tense but important moment. The other maids noticed the change. They started whispering. "Dan talks to her more," one said. "He looks at her differently," another whispered. They saw Dan's actions, how he was with Adam and how he looked at me. I tried to ignore their words, but deep inside, my feelings for Dan started to change. He was not just the cold boss. He was a man who showed kindness, even if he tried to hide it. My heart began to beat faster when he was near. I started to see him as a kind man. 5, a big secret. Life in the big house was changing. After Dan knew about Adam, the cold feeling in the rooms slowly started to go away. Dan was not as distant as before. He often spoke to Lisa, asking about Adam or simple things about the house. Adam played in the living room sometimes, and Dan would watch him with a soft look in his eyes. Lisa felt a warmth grow in her heart, a feeling she had not known for a long time. She still worked very hard, cleaning and cooking, but the heavy weight on her shoulders felt a little lighter. She thought maybe, just maybe, Dan was a truly kind man and her life was getting better. But one night, this new feeling changed. Lisa was walking near Dan's study. The door was not fully closed. She heard voices. One voice was Dan's, low and serious. The other voice was a woman's, sharp and clear. It was Dan's stepmother. Lisa stopped. She did not mean to listen, but the words were loud. "You must marry Dan," the stepmother said. "Your father's will is clear. You will not get the money if you are not married by your birthday. It is in the contract." Lisa felt her heart jump. Money, will, contract. She moved closer, trying to hear more. Her hands felt cold. She heard Dan sigh. "I know," he said, "but who will I marry?" "Find someone quickly," the stepmother insisted. "It does not matter who, just marry. The fortune is huge." "Do not lose it." Lisa's breath caught in her throat. She understood. Dan needed to be married to get his father's money. This was a big secret, a very big secret. All the kindness he had shown, all the toys for Adam, all the soft looks, was it all a part of this plan? Was he kind to her only because she was here, a woman living in his house? The warmth in Lisa's heart turned to a cold, hard stone. She felt confused and a little scared. Was she just a tool for him to get his money? The next day, the house felt different. Lisa looked at Dan, trying to read his face. Was he thinking about the will? Was he looking for a wife? She cleaned the rooms with heavy thoughts in her mind. Later that afternoon, Dan called her name. Lisa walked to him, her heart beating fast. He was standing in the large living room. Adam was playing with a new toy car nearby. Dan looked at Lisa, his dark eyes serious. He did not smile. "Lisa," he began, his voice quiet, "I need to ask you something very important." Lisa waited, holding her breath. She thought he would talk about the cleaning or maybe Adam. But his next words were a shock. "Will you marry me?" he asked. Lisa's world stopped. Her mind went blank. She was a poor maid. She had no money, no family, nothing. He was a rich man. He had everything. Why her? Was it because of the will? Was it only about the money he needed to get? Her confusion was great. She looked at him, unable to speak. All the doubts from the night before came back. Was this a true proposal or just a part of a big, secret plan? She did not know what to think, what to feel, or what to say. Her heart was a mix of surprise, fear, and a strange, small hope. 6. The wedding. I felt very confused about Dan's marriage proposal. My heart felt a strange hope, but my mind was full of questions. Why did he ask me, a poor maid? Was it only for his father's money? I thought about Adam. He needed a safe home, a good future. This marriage could give him that. It was a very big decision for me. I walked around thinking, could I marry a man who only wanted a wife for money? But I also remembered his kindness to Adam. These thoughts went round and round. One afternoon, Dan's stepmother came to me in the kitchen. She did not smile. She held a paper. "Lisa," she said, her voice low, "you will marry Dan, yes." I nodded. She put the paper on the table. "This is a contract," she said. "You must sign it." I looked at the paper. Many big words were there, but I saw clearly, "No money, no rights, if Dan dies." She explained. "This paper says you will never take Dan's money. If you sign, the wedding can happen. If you do not sign, there will be no wedding." She wanted to protect Dan's family money from me. My hands felt cold. I took the pen. My hand shook a little. I looked at the contract again. It was a big promise. I would sign away any claim to Dan's fortune. But this was not about money for me. It was about Adam. He deserved a warm bed, food every day, and a safe place. This marriage, even if it was a contract, could give him that. I would do anything for him. So I held the pen firmly. I took a deep breath. Then I wrote my name. The stepmother smiled, a quick smile. For me, it was a step towards a better life for my son. The wedding day came quickly. It was a quiet day. There were not many people, only Dan's family and some business friends. They were all rich. I wore a simple white dress. I felt like an outsider. The guests looked at me. Their eyes were full of judgment. I heard whispers. "He married the maid," one woman said. "What a shame," another replied. Their words were like small, sharp stones, but I tried not to listen. I walked to Dan. He stood waiting. His face was calm. When I stood next to him, he took my hand. His hand was warm and strong. I felt a little peace. We said our vows. It was a simple ceremony. No big party, just words, promises. After the ceremony, Dan looked at me. His eyes were not cold. They were quiet. I was now Mrs. Dan. It felt very strange, but Adam would have a home. That was the most important thing. 7, a hard time. After the quiet wedding, life became very difficult. The world outside the house was full of noise and bad words. Many people talked about Dan and me. They did not understand our marriage. They thought I only wanted Dan's money. This made me feel very sad. Newspapers printed stories about us every day. They called me bad names. Some papers wrote that I was a gold digger. This means they thought I married Dan only for his money. Other papers said Dan forced me to marry him. They called me the Maid bride. These words hurt me very much. I felt like everyone was looking at me, judging me. When I went outside, people stared. They whispered behind their hands. It was a hard time to live. I wanted to hide from everyone. Dan's stepmother also made things difficult. She was very angry about the wedding. She often came to the house. She shouted at Dan and me. She told Dan that I had stolen everything from her. She tried to make Dan angry with me. She said I was not good enough for him. She wanted to create problems between us. She hoped Dan would send me away. But inside our house, things were different. Dan was not cold anymore. He changed a lot after the wedding. He was kind and warm. He spent a lot of time with Adam. They laughed together. Dan looked happy when he was with my son. He also spoke to me in soft words. He asked me how I felt. He listened to me. This was a new feeling for me. One evening, Dan told me something very important. He looked at me with his kind eyes. He said he did not marry me for his father's money. He said he did not marry me for the will. He told me he married me because he felt alive with me. He said that for many years he felt nothing, but with me and Adam he felt happy. This truth made my heart feel warm. I knew then that his feelings were real. His stepmother continued to cause trouble. She often spoke badly about me to Dan. She tried to turn him against me, but Dan always stood by my side. He protected me. He looked at his stepmother and said, "Lisa is my wife." He spoke in a strong voice, "And I will protect her always." His words made me feel safe. I knew I was not alone in this hard time. Dan was with me. 8. Our new life. The world outside still spoke about Lisa and Dan. Newspapers wrote stories and people whispered. But Lisa learned to close her ears to their words. The big house, once a place of hard work and quiet rules, slowly became a safe and warm home. Inside its strong walls, the noise from the outside world could not reach them. Lisa chose to focus on her new life and the family she now had day by day. Every morning, the house woke up with soft sounds. Their family life grew stronger with each passing day. It was a quiet kind of happiness that filled the rooms. They ate meals together at a big table, sharing quiet talks and small smiles. Dan, who once seemed so cold and distant, now laughed easily with Adam. He would often get down on the floor to play with Adam, building tall towers with blocks or drawing pictures. In the evenings, Dan read bedtime stories, his voice warm and gentle. Adam's small voice often called Dan Papa, and Dan's eyes would soften with clear love. Adam had found the father he needed, and Dan had found a new, happy purpose in his life. Lisa was still busy in the house, but her role felt very different. She still cleaned the rooms and cooked the meals, but her work was no longer a heavy burden. It was an act of love for her family. She was not just a maid anymore. She was Dan's wife. She was the mother of Adam and the woman Dan loved with all his heart. This change was a big one, a beautiful one. She remembered her old life, full of fear and without money or a home. Now she had a warm place to live, food on the table, and the most important thing, a loving family. The journey had been long and very hard. From a poor woman with no hope, Lisa had slowly become a loved wife and a happy mother. She had learned an important lesson in her life. Love could grow in unexpected places, even after great difficulty and sadness. Her story was not about a scandal, as some people said in the newspapers. It was a true story about destiny, about finding real family, and about a wonderful new beginning. Lisa looked at Dan and Adam playing together, and her heart felt completely full. This was her happy ending, her new life, built on love and hope,